to another edition of Revelation News TV. And I'm your host, the Reverend Jason William Egroff. And I'm here to take you down the rabbit hole of Alex Jones' fake deposition bullshit. Okay? I'm going to jump right into it and try and cover as much as I can. Here we go.
See that? I'm asking you if I said to you, right now, I'm going to say it to you right now, Mr. Jones, Sandy Hook wasn't an operating school. Did I just make a statement, or did I just make an opinion?
That's your opinion.
Okay. So those sorts of statements can be said on InfoWars without fact checking.
I don't know the context.
Let's say an editor at InfoWars publishes a false accusation that a private individual is a criminal, and publishes that accusation based on anonymous sources whose identity cannot be verified. Is that okay at InfoWars?
Can you say that again?
Sure. Let's say an editor publishes a false accusation that a private individual is a criminal, and publishes that accusation based on anonymous sources whose identity cannot be verified. Is that okay at InfoWars?
It would depend on the context and who the source is.
Well, I've just told you the source cannot be verified. Is that okay?
Well, that's what the so-called journalists do all the time.
Do they?
And the New York Times, everybody said that they got the proof that Trump's a Russian agent. They never was there.
Okay, that's not good, is it?
No, it's not.
No, it's not. So relying on an unnamed, unverified, can't even figure out who they are source, that's not okay.
And Daniel Ellsberg was an unnamed source for years. No, if you know who the source is, and you know they're a good source, then you have to protect that source.
That's totally different, right? Let's say the reporter knows the identity of the source,
Oh,
but
you're
the
not
public doesn't.
Oh,
Fine.
sure.
Okay. So let's back
I
up.
don't understand your question.
Right, so let's back up again. Let's try it again. Let's say an editor publishes a false accusation that a private individual is a criminal, and publishes that accusation based on anonymous sources whose identity the reporter cannot verify. Is that okay?
No, that's quite a mouthful, but I think what you're saying is they know it's not true, and that would not be good.
No, I'm just saying they don't know who the source is.
You just said it up front. It was. Say that?
Sure. An editor publishes a false accusation. It's just wrong. Just publishes somebody else's accusation.
Is this supposed to be, okay, we're going to take Alex Jones to journalism school, like journalistic ethics school? There's never been a case where InfoWars reported something that was unique to InfoWars reporting that needed to be retracted ever in the entire time that I watched and consumed InfoWars media. Not once, from my experience.
That somebody's a criminal. And that person they're relying on for that accusation, they have no idea who that person's identity is.
Well, I wouldn't do that if I knew it was false. So you're
Right.
You're putting that up front. So I would not go with something, if I knew that it was false.
Let's try it one more time. We'll reword this question for you. Okay? Let's say an editor publishes an accusation that someone is a criminal, and in doing so, they relied on a source whose identity they cannot verify. They have no idea who it is. It's a totally anonymous message they got. And then it turns out...
This is obvious answers. I mean, it's like, look, if if you're running a media organization that's reporting facts, and you are meant to be the mouthpiece of the facts, and you are reporting stuff that you can't, it's an unverified source, you should not be putting it out as truth in the news. But Alex never dealt with journalism much. And he mentioned this to the questioner already. Mostly what we do is opinion and punditry. It's not actual hands-on getting the first-hand facts journalism, but they do that too mostly in documentaries. Okay? Alex isn't Fox News going to get the facts. He's taken the facts from Fox News or whatever source, and then producing a show from that based on the framework of what's spoken of on InfoWars, which is conspiracy and global the global conspiracy. That's the framework.
That reporting was false. Is that okay?
No, it's not.
Okay. You would take disciplinary action if that happened?
Yes.
Of course.
Now, what kind of disciplinary action would you take?
I would generally just try to something like that and probably let them go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when Kit Daniels ran an article accusing an innocent young man of being the Parkland mass murderer based on anonymous sources, which he could not verify.
Uh-oh.
You didn't fire him, did you?
That individual's name was not put out.
What does this have to do with Sandy Hook? Nothing. The line of questioning is fraudulent on face. Why? It has nothing to do with Sandy Hook. Just pointing this out for you folks.
And it was from another site, and it was pulled down, and then the individual reported themselves and their name into the record. But Kit did not do that on purpose, and it was on thousands of publications.
He intentionally, on purpose, reported an accusation of a crime based on an anonymous source whose identity he could not verify. Correct?
Bad move.
No, it appeared to match the information that was also on other sites, but it was incorrect. That's why we took it down.
What sites are you talking about?
It was a long list of sites. It was all over the internet.
Before Kit Daniels published it.
Yes.
That's your belief.
That's what I remember. That's my knowledge.
All right. Kit Daniels testified that he just found it on 4chan and saw it in a tweet by an anonymous Twitter account.
I don't remember that.
Okay. If that was true, though, if he just relied on two anonymous sources whose identity he could not verify, that's a fireable offense, isn't it?
Yes. I believe it was more, but yes, it's not good.
You got honesty. Okay, if someone would be guilty of such an offense, it would cost them their job at InfoWars, and it should. This is journalistic ethics common sense. There's no way it's okay to go on an anonymous source, third hand, fourth hand, could be 20th hand information, and then report something as fact. That's just completely out of the bounds of any kind of journalistic ethics, you could say. So if Kit Daniels was guilty of that, he should have been fired, and it will be a mistake on Alex's part if he didn't terminate Kit Daniels and this happened. I'm not aware of this situation.
Take disciplinary action against any employee involved in the false reporting on the Chobani Yogurt Company that
Oh.
you apologize for, right?
Oh my God! See, I remember that, Chobani. This was a feud. Okay, this was straight up a feud. That sort of got out of hand. It's two males being males, and it got a little out of hand. That's all I would say about the Chobani thing.
That was a publicity stunt by Chobani Yogurt. There was no money. It was all there were migrant workers being brought in. There were rapes in the area, but technically the company itself wasn't doing it. It was the owner and the Federal Reserve board member.
Whoa.
Didn't David Knight tell you explicitly that there were no rapes? That was false?
Oh boy.
I don't remember what you're talking about.
Trigger warning. Sorry about that word. Yeah. I didn't know it went this. Holy shit! It went a little deeper. I thought they were Alex. The people in chat at the time was like, Chobani Yogurt is camel jizz. You know, I'm not a fan of Chobani, so I'm not. But that's really not nice. Very uncouth behavior.
Okay. You didn't take any disciplinary action against any employee involved in the false reporting on Pizzagate that you publicly apologized for.
Oh boy, here we go. Now that comes up. Pizzagate. Now see, I have to do this in order to keep everything in the bounds of being okay for me to talk about it. They did an investigation, and the place that was being alleged to have had some weird stuff going down in it apparently didn't. That's the reporting on it, and I will bring that to you as the facts. What is my opinion on it? I think probably people got a little bit too flagrant with a narrative that they wanted to push down this road with John Podesta, and maybe some vindictive shit with John Podesta, and I would leave it at that. I don't believe that there's enough evidence to say that anything was going on at that specific location, but I can tell you for a fact, and we know this is now on record, even in court filings and all kinds of stuff, that there is a tunnel system under certain areas, such as in the Diddy case, where there was a bedroom, and underneath the bed there's a wooden trapdoor, which would connect to, allegedly, we are told, and it's on record as far as I am concerned, connects to, among other places, the Playboy Mansion, multiple Playboy Mansions, and certain famous actor, actresses, music industry people, such as Diddy himself, and allegedly Gloria Estefan and her husband. So this is all very, very, very real and confirmed now with more aggregate information from this time period that we're speaking of here, which is November 26, 2019. We know a lot more about a lot more stuff.
No, the Jeffrey Epstein blackmail rings are real.
Sure.
When your reporter, Owen Schroyer, tried to falsely connect the Austin pizza restaurant East Side Pies to a pedophile ring, you didn't take any disciplinary action. Correct?
I don't know. I'm not those specifics. We're talking.
See, yeah, the specifics of what you're talking about, I'm not sure I know about this either. Owen Schroyer, I'm sure has some fun here and there. That we think that we should go, no, Owen, and slap him on the wrist for having a little fun, I think is bullshit. You let your employees have a little bit of creative and otherwise commentary. You give your employees the freedom to have a little commentary. Alex Jones would be in that category, and I would agree with him completely. If I had a roster of talent and I was the head of a network, I would be wanting the sharpest talent to give their opinions in the way that they know how to do, because that's going to be the best show.
Talking about.
You've never taken any disciplinary action against any employee for any of the false things said about Sandy Hook on Instagram.
Here we go. Why would he discipline anybody in his crew that is simply facilitating a conversation with an audience that believes that weird shit happened at Sandy Hook? How is he guilty of anything other than having an opinion show? He's not. I'm showing you that this was a kangaroo court bullshit, and he's doing his best to answer questions in a wise legal fashion, and they still fucked him.
I don't understand. I'm not sure what you're getting at.
So I guess in a deposition, you can make it known by your lawyer going objection form, meaning that the way the question is formed is it's malformed question. They can let the court know in the transcripts that they have a problem with the questioning, but you have to keep answering. I guess that's the way it works with the deposition, because usually there's a judge to either sustain or overrule an objection. So I'm just observing this with you guys, and this is how depositions work. And we're going to be delving into more depositions, okay? We're going to do Oren Schroyer's. There's more Alex Jones testimony in court, as well as more depositions. So I'm going to do an entire series on these depositions in court. Alex in the court seat, in the witness stand and stuff. I'm going to cover all that, and then I might go into I might do some Epstein content. Look at Jeffrey Epstein's deposition, and maybe even Trump. Look at Trump's depositions. This is very interesting stuff, because you're getting, I believe, narratives that are accurate. I believe Alex is telling the truth. I don't believe that he's selling false narratives. Okay, that's where I'm coming from, because I know him. I've spoken to him personally. I was going to work for him. Very, very. I feel he's a hero in my book, because he created awareness for me and a lot of people, which is why I had ChatGPT. I had ChatGPT create this image, which is a monument to freedom of speech in Washington. And this exactly captured the image that I saw in my head. Alex with a bullhorn, on fire for freedom. See, this is America. And that's why I will not ever cut the cord of Alex, because I know his heart's right. He just took a side, and that wasn't wise, and he's starting to realize that it was not wise.
Vicky, I
Really?
love you.
Now,
I love you too.
The question, or is it like the subject matter of Sandy Hook?
Huh?
Broad, or
I love you.
Interrupt here.
I mean, I just don't understand the question.
Sure. So you understand what disciplinary action is, right?
Yes.
You understand what Sandy Hook's, the coverage of Sandy Hook by InfoWars. You understand what that is, right? So you've never taken disciplinary action against any employee for any of the false things that have been said on InfoWars about Sandy Hook, correct?
We have questioned public events like any American has a right to do on the First Amendment.
Are you saying you haven't said false things about Sandy Hook on InfoWars?
I have covered the internet and others questioning the anomalies around it.
And
Right.
you've told me in testimony back in March, you said there are things that you said that were not true, were inaccurate, you were wrong about.
Duh. Do you expect this man to have a perfect narrative that every single little fact is going to line up for you nice, like a little package? That's insane. That's not how journalism is not what you would call an exact science. Okay? There's no way that you can call free form commentary, punditry, streaming show anything having to do with traditional journalism. We're dealing with a hybrid of entertainment, commentary, and information. But mostly a current events media.
I discovered later things that people were saying, anomalies have been cleared up, yes.
So the things you said were false, right?
Not the things I said, the things I covered that other people were saying,
Okay.
the questions.
Let's put it this way. The things that you repeated from people like Wolfgang Halbig
Oh.
were false.
Here's the name.
I'd have to go through the specifics. Can we go through the specifics?
We will, but I'm asking you right now generally. There have been things Wolfgang Halbig have said that you repeated that were false.
I'd have to see the specifics.
Once again, they're going to say blanketly, there's things that Wolfgang Halbig said that were false. Are you sure that what Wolfgang Halbig said was false? This is where they pigeonhole everything, and they're going to say that's false. Why? Because it's their narrative.
So you can't just admit that generally right now.
I'd have to see the specifics.
Let's talk I have some questions about a couple of your employees. And the first one is a gentleman named Buckley Hammond? How do I say that?
Hammond.
Okay. Buckley Hammond, that's your cousin, right? Okay. What's his job at InfoWars?
He doesn't work at InfoWars.
Okay. Has he ever worked at InfoWars?
Yes.
Okay. What was his job at InfoWars?
It was IT infrastructure.
Okay. What dates did he work at InfoWars?
I don't know the exact dates.
Okay. When did he, you imagine he very recently stopped working for
A
InfoWars.
couple years ago.
Okay. Do you know what his opinion was of your Sandy Hook coverage?
I don't know.
Relevancy.
Talk about Jerome Corsi. In 2017, you hired Dr. Corsi as your Washington bureau chief.
Yes.
Okay, that didn't last very long ago, did it?
No.
You two had a falling out.
Yes.
Oh.
Dr. Corsi, that's someone who
I
has
didn't know
told you
that.
their opinions about you bringing up Sandy Hook over and over, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. So you don't recall any conversations you might have had with Dr. Corsi in which he talked to you about you?
Is he still with us? I gotta check this quick. Let's see. Boom. Come on, load. Hello? Dr. Jerome Corsi. Is he still with us? Keep it, whatever. ChatGPT is now my search. American political, is he still largely widely discredited? I want to see brother. No, I don't want. Okay. I want a Google search. I don't want a ChatGPT search. Fine. I don't need it. I guess he's okay. Damn it! It's literally using ChatGPT now completely for my searches instead of Google. I don't like that. I gotta switch it. Okay. Wow.
You repeatedly bringing up Sandy Hook.
I don't ever remember that, no.
Okay. Daria Karpova? Who is that?
That's a radio producer.
Daria, I know her.
So you have your show goes out on syndicated radio, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so she does a job that is tailored towards having that show brought to radio. Is that right?
No.
Okay. Describe her job functions for me.
Producers and TV are the people that pay for and run the production. Radio just means the person that answers phones and sets guests up.
Yeah.
And does that, like the technicals of the show.
Okay, so when she sets guests up, she does that for radio but not for the web broadcast?
It's a simulcast of radio and TV, but it's really a radio show. So what it is a technical director.
Okay.
It's just in radio it's called producer, so that can be confusing.
Gotcha, okay. Now, Daria Karpova, that's the same person as Daria Ruskaya?
I don't know.
Russians, oh.
When did Ms. Karpova start working for you?
Maybe about 4 years ago.
Okay, still working for you now? What about Roger Stone? Is he an employee of yours?
No.
Has he ever been an employee of
Yes.
yours? Okay. When did he stop being an
Or
employee?
no, he's a contractor.
Okay, so he's a paid contributor in some
Yes.
way. And just let me give you a little instruction.
The stoned
I know
prostate
the reporter
zone.
Here, who, I just having to write everything down.
Remember to always take your Roger Stone cock pills to be a man.
And if you jump on my question, it makes it really difficult.
Got it.
Write that down.
Can we take a break? Yeah.
Yeah, we can take a break.
Going off the record at 10:12 a.m.
We're okay. I hope Alex had a
We're
cigarette.
back on the record at 10:27.
Need a cigarette,
Mr.
Alex.
Jones, we were talking about employees and agents of InfoWars, and I want to ask you, about a gentleman who I'm going to show you in Exhibit 3. You recognize that gentleman?
Do you also see how they're trying to do this bullshit guilt by association? Oh, you associate with Mr. Stone, Mr. Jones. It's yeah, well, guilt by association. I thought we didn't do that in the country.
Dan Badandi.
Yeah, can you hold that up for the camera?
Oh, my brother Dan. I've done shows with him. He's co-hosted and co-produced radio shows with me, Mr. Dan Badandi, who's a saintly type individual. Just to get a character witness from myself. Dan is salt of the earth.
Can you hold that a little higher so we can zoom in on that?
Oh no. Get the hell out of here. I gotta do this though. Just put that down.
You and Mr. Halbig, correct? And this was an InfoWars episode.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Wolfgang Halbig, the man he's interviewing, that's a retired school safety officer who sort of got obsessed with Sandy Hook, correct?
Huh?
Yes. Okay. What did you think of Mr. Badandi's work in Newtown in 2014?
My opinion on Halbig is basically it does look like he embellished some shit, so I reject him whole cloth. I believe that people were harmed at Sandy Hook 100%, and anybody that was harmed there should be absolutely the families should be respected, and all of that. I think anybody that was propagating this idea of no deaths is a disgusting fucking person to do that.
I did not follow a lot of it.
Okay, when you did find out about it, what was your reaction? What did you do?
I don't remember the specifics.
Okay, when you testified back in March, didn't you say that you had seen what he did and had a reaction to it?
Are you talking about this report?
I'm just
I don't
talking
remember
about
this report.
I'm just talking about his work in Newtown. What did you think about his work in Newtown in 2014?
I don't remember the exact year, but I remember telling him, "Do not, you're not reporting for us, and stop using the mic flag." And I told him to stop.
This is some inside baseball that I did not know about. He was using an InfoWars. Wolfgang Halbig was using an InfoWars mic. What does Alex call it? He's in the industry. What did Alex call it? Sorry.
Not reporting for us, and stop using the mic flag.
The mic flag. This is something I did not know. Wolfgang Halbig was guilty of using an InfoWars mic flag when he was not officially with them. You should not do that.
And I told him to stop. Don't come on the show. I mean, I don't like your demeanor, and you don't represent us. I do remember that. I'm not sure the year.
That's news to me right there. Very interesting. And let's just say, for sake of being fair, just the fact that Wolfgang Halbig might not have the best rapport with people doesn't discredit his information. I'm going to tell you, just do your own look at it. The best thing that I've ever seen done on it was John B. Wells' show called Caravan of Midnight. And he had Halbig on there for quite a while. And he broke down what he had. And there was weird shit. But there's no doubt that it was a tragedy where real tragedy happened. Let's keep that in our minds, okay?
Okay, Mr. Jones. Okay, Mr. Jones. You sent Dan Badandi back to Newtown in 2015, didn't you?
I don't remember.
Okay. Let me show you what I've marked as Exhibit 5. You're going to flip the page and you'll see a highlighted portion. You see where it says, in an interview with InfoWars reporter Dan Badandi following the hearing?
Yes.
Okay. And you'll see that this story, if you look back at the front, it says July 7th, 2015, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Badandi was back in Newtown in 2015, correct?
Yes.
Back during your prior testimony in March, we watched a video of Badandi in Newtown following people on the street, accusing them of being liars and criminals. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. I want to show you right now another video of Dan Badandi and Wolfgang Halbig in the Connecticut courthouse in a confrontation that occurred, and ask you some questions about it. Can we play?
Once again, we're going to take an instance of guilt by association. Because Badandi was sent there by Alex to go look at something. That means you're going to hold Alex guilty for the perhaps behavior that wasn't becoming of someone. This is all bullshit. I'll be right back. Yeah, I'm in a situation with $0, 0 cents, and no cigarettes, but that's okay. I'll deal with it. Okay, so look, here's the deal with that people have to get. We're 34 minutes in. That's not long. I want to do some more. There's so much material for this, though. This is going to be an ongoing series that I think I'm going to put out a video a night, and maybe I'll skip a night and not do one. But mostly I'm going to be doing this nightly, I think. Here's the deal with all of this. You could see the motivation of why they did this to him. This was an attack on Alex Jones' journalistic ethics. And the fact of the matter is they have him on nothing. But they are pushing guilt by association, bullshit, and innuendo that people are like, wow, that's just gross that people said that no one was hurt. And I agree with that. Because the evidence is not to say that no one was hurt. That's crazy. That's disinformation. The real deal is that these things are basically allowed to happen, and in a lot of cases are set up. And the shit with this one in particular is the status of the school. Was it shut down? It's very cloudy. Weird shit. And I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole. That's for you to do on your own. I'm coming to the discussion with having lived through this time and was doing a show and had a YouTube channel and was involved with InfoWars and Alex. I can tell you that Alex Jones and InfoWars were not involved with the propagation of the idea, of the lie, that no one was hurt.
Hey, we're going to go ahead and offer... We're going to offer as Exhibit 6 the entire USB drive of videos, and we'll be doing them as 6A, 6B, 6C, etc. So right now we're going to offer video 6A of the Hallbig confrontation on May 28th, 2015. Can you play that for me?
Oh, here we go. Oh, damn, we have a Dan Badandi video here, and we got Hallbig. Let's check it out.
Attorney Frank, are you satisfied with the decision? Mr. Frank, are you satisfied with the decision? Of course, he's not going to answer.
Alright, so
There goes corruption right here.
So what Curtis Urbino, we're going to find Mr. Urbino and Mr. Monty Frank. And the Bill Richmond, guess what there, Mr. Frank? What do you think? You're protecting all of those people?
the squad
Are you protecting
should
the
never
Bill
threaten me.
Richmond? The Bill Richmond, you're in the synagogue?
Should never mention the Italian mafia to me.
Would you like to explain to me why you can't just answer a man's questions? Huh? No, we're not going to acknowledge. This isn't legitimate. Are you from ABC, NBC? No? Are you from CBS? No? We will not answer your questions. You're a slave. Leave.
You should take that American flag off your lapel. You should have a
Tell him,
conference.
Dan. You fucking tell him, Dan. You see this? That's how you handle authoritarian scum.
I can't help it. This is ridiculous. I mean, there is law, but not when you have a bobblehead that does what he does. That's not right, Katie. And he's trying to call you a liar. Basically, he's saying that you didn't do anything right. If you
Tell
listen,
the truth, okay?
well, I agree with you. I know you
This
do.
was going to happen the way it happened anyway. We knew that they weren't going to change their minds.
Mr. Jones, when Mr. Halbig was yelling that he is going to find Avil Richmond and find Mr. Urbina, do you remember his accusations about Avil Richmond?
No, I don't.
All right, Mr. Halbig told you that Avil Richmond wasn't dead. Do you remember that?
No.
Okay. Mr. Halbig claimed there was another little girl in the town that was actually Avil Richmond, and that he was stalking that girl's parents, the Urbinas. What do you think about that?
I don't know if that's true.
Okay. If Mr. Halbig is going around right here where you can see shouting about Avil Richmond, and he's going to find Avil Richmond, the little girl who died at Sandy Hook, what do you think about that?
I don't think that that's good.
Okay.
I
You
agree.
claim that you saw what Badandi was doing and you fired him because of it, right?
Well, I'd have to go back and look at all the times, but he was not working for us then. And he kept doing reports, and then he popped up a few times in the nightly news. And I remember yelling at the new young people and saying, you know, tell him to stop doing that.
Okay.
And don't have him, and don't cover it. I don't remember the year or whatever, but it was, I've never even seen this.
Okay, and you've said that Badandi was not working for you when he went to Sandy Hook, right? You testified to that before?
Well, it depends which again, it's a long time ago, so I can't speak to it. I just remember telling Dan that he was not doing that in my name.
Okay. In addition to Wolfgang Haubig, one of your other sources for your Sandy Hook reporting was Jim Fetzer, right?
Oh boy, that's another name. Jim Fetzer.
Not one of mine. I remember a long time ago.
Really? You didn't testify to that in March, that Mr. Fetzer was
He was one of the people questioning it.
one of your sources for Sandy Hook coverage, correct?
I don't know what. I mean, I remember. I don't think he was on my show.
Didn't you testify that Mr. Watson was telling you that Mr. Fetzer was bad? You shouldn't be relying on him?
I remember Paul saying he didn't like Fetzer. I do remember that.
Okay. Mr. Fetzer is a retired professor and a rabid anti-Semite, right?
Oh my God.
I
Here we go with the character assassination. Yeah, Jim Fetzer is a rabid anti-Semite. Well, he might talk about Synagogue of Satan, but we're going to condemn him. We'll go ahead.
I don't know that.
You didn't know Mr. Fetzer was a rabid anti-Semite?
No, I don't know that.
You didn't know that Mr. Fetzer thinks the Jews did Sandy Hook?
No, I don't know that.
Just like he thinks the Jews did 9/11?
No.
Okay.
Oh man. Well, why don't you talk to Mr. Jones about his views on that? Alex is not one of these. It's the Jews. Everything's the Jews. That's not him. But of course they're trying to. Let's insert it. Let's try to insert it.
After some time, you say you realized that Haubig and Fetzer were not credible, and the anomalies they raised weren't accurate, correct?
Some of them, yes.
Okay.
Talking about Haubig mainly there. I mean, I didn't know Fetzer was saying all that. I didn't agree with a lot of things Fetzer said over the years.
Sure. But you kept repeating those anomalies as fact right up until you got sued, right?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
You remember at the end of the
Nope is correct answer. What is the purpose of this fucking questioner when you throw out a completely, it's not true question, informant in a question? It's total manipulation of people's comprehension of what they're watching.
2016 election, there was some media coverage about how you had said on your show that Trump had called you and to thank you for your help in the election. And some of those mainstream media sources were, kind of trying to pile on you about that. Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. 2 days after that happened, a woman named Erica Lafferty. First, let's back up. Do you know who Erica Lafferty is?
No.
Okay. She's the daughter of Don Hopspring. She's currently suing you. You don't know who she is?
I never talked about her.
Okay. She's been talked about on InfoWars, though. You didn't know that?
I don't know.
Okay, and you didn't know that she currently is the named plaintiff in a suit against you in Connecticut called Lafferty versus Jones? You didn't know that?
Oh, I've seen that name now.
Okay. Well, 2 days later, Erica Lafferty wrote an open letter to Trump about you. Do you remember that?
Nope.
You don't remember a letter in which Ms. Lafferty wrote on behalf of the victims saying to Trump, please disavow Alex Jones. Don't associate yourself with Alex Jones. You don't remember?
And then we'll also, wow, now I know the origins of this. Alex was saying, I'm going to distance myself from Trump because they're trying to use me against him. Here you go. You must disavow Alex Jones because of an opinion show.
I do remember a letter about that.
Okay. See tab 7? Can we mark that?
Yeah, make sure you mark it. He should mark it every time that there's a dumbass question asked to Alex Jones. Do you know how many marks he would have? It would all be marks. Mark, dumb ass, stupid ass fucking question. Dumb fuck.
Mr. Jones, I'm going to show you Exhibit 7, just so you can see the letter and what date it was. Do you see the date on that?
Yes.
Okay. And that is November 16, 2016,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Again, just another caution to wait until I finish my question before you answer, because he has difficulty writing that down. Can we agree to that?
Sure.
Mr. Jones?
Uh-huh.
2 days after this letter, do you remember publishing a video which you called your final statement on Sandy Hook?
Say that again.
Do you remember 2 days after this letter publishing a video which you titled your final statement on Sandy Hook?
I remember making a video.
Okay. And that was a video that you recorded to specially address this controversy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to play you a copy of that video. That is going to be Exhibit 6B. The video is entitled Final Statement on Sandy Hook in November 18th, 2016. And this is going to be a little bit of a long clip. So I want you to pay close attention because we're going to talk about every part of it. And I know you don't like it when videos are cut short, and we're going to watch a long piece of this. So again, I caution you to pay attention to here.
Thank you.
We're going to be watching this video, okay? So let's go ahead and play that video.
I can tell you I for sure seen this night. This is InfoWars Nightly News. I guarantee you I seen this live. And I might have called in. Who knows? I hear myself.
Number one, the day before this tragic event happened, an email was sent out by Bloomberg's anti-gun group saying, prepare for a big event. But the biggest piece of evidence, the smoking gun, if you would, of a cover-up, of whatever really happened, is the Wayback Machine, the Internet Archive. We see Sandy Hook's Newtown website, K through 12, having zero traffic, 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then all of a sudden, it just explodes. It's impossible to have zero traffic to a K through 12 entire school system. And the word is, that school system was shut down for those years. That's what the records show. But they tell us it was open. I don't know if the moon landings were faked, but I don't put anything past these anti-gunners. And early on that day, we watched footage of kids going in circles in and out of the building. You'd be running them away from the building. Emergency helicopters weren't called. Instead, porta potties were prepared for the press within hours of the event. I saw the helicopters that did respond, the police helicopters, saying that there were men or a man in the woods in camouflage. The media later said that was a conspiracy theory. So early on, I'm like, well, I saw local news of the guy in the woods, and they took him in custody. Now they're saying it never happened. So that shows there's some type of cover-up happening. And then I saw Anderson Cooper. I've been at TV for 20-something years. I know a blue screen or a green screen. Turn, and his nose disappear. Then I saw clearly that they were using footage on the green screen, looped, because it would show flowers and other things during other broadcasts that were moving and then basically cutting to the same piece of footage. Then I saw CNN do faked satellite interviews with reporters clearly with the same traffic and the same cars right behind them conducting the interview face to face. Then we see footage of one of the reported fathers of the victims, Robbie Parker, doing classic acting training where he's laughing and joking and they say, hey, we're live. And he goes, oh. And maybe that's real. I'm sure it is.
All right, Mr. Jones. Can we mark that?
You see how Alex was even careful there. He was careful even in that clip. If you're trying to convict him on the fact of the thing you're trying to frame here, that he's reckless, he was careful there. More bullshit. Wow, more bullshit. Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Jones' opinion would have marked as Exhibit 8. It's a screenshot from the video. Could you hold that up for the camera real quick? Can you hold that up again? All right, thank you.
Okay.
This part of the video dealt with the Wayback Machine, correct?
Yes.
Okay, you said it's the biggest piece of evidence, the smoking gun. Explain to me what you meant by that.
You got this, Alex.
Specifically,
Sure, what did you mean by that?
there was a whole group of research around not just this, but other algorithm sites and meters not showing any traffic to the school website or food deliveries, things like that for those years.
Okay, so you said in the video, we see Sandy Hook's website having zero traffic.
According to this.
So, the Internet Wayback Machine, do you believe that shows internet traffic? Is that what you believe?
Does it not?
What it shows is what's being archived there. And there's also, it's a group of not just this, but I have to go back to, that was years ago.
Okay, Internet Wayback Machine does not show internet traffic out of school.
Oh, okay.
It shows new material and traffic on the website it's posted.
Okay, you're going to stick by, you think it shows traffic, internet traffic.
Does it or not?
That's what it's measuring.
But I guess the term would be traffic in posting, in activity.
Have you ever read the Wayback Machine FAQ, frequently asked questions, ever figured out what it is?
It archives web pages.
Right, so there's little crawling robots, little web robots that crawl different websites, and if it hits it, it preserves it in the Wayback Machine, correct?
Yes.
Has nothing to do with how much web traffic was coming to a particular site. Correct?
How much updating of the sites there, that's the traffic, that's the form of traffic.
Okay, those little bars there, that isn't a measurement of how many people are accessing the website or how much traffic is coming over the website, is it?
The better word would be activity on the site, by people that are posting.
So you're saying that the little bars there reflect something other than the Internet Wayback Machine's own web crawling robots and whether or not they connected with the page?
I'd have to go back and look at what I was covering at the time.
Have you ever Googled why a page might be excluded from the Wayback Machine for a certain period?
There's things like they blocked a robot with the spider.
Yeah, and so have you checked to see if that was done?
This was years ago, and I was also speaking in general about not just the Wayback Machine, but the updating of the site, the traffic of the site, and food deliveries to the site was a whole group of things. This was could have better said.
Okay, but you said that's the smoking gun, right? The Wayback Machine and the traffic to the internet? That's what you said?
Well, not just this, that whole group of things.
Okay, so let's talk about the other things.
That was an oversimplification.
You say there's things showing that there's no traffic coming to the school. What are you talking about?
I'd have to pull that up. This was years ago.
Well, I think you could pull it up pretty easily because it comes...
I mean, it's obvious what he's saying. He's going to the Wayback Machine and looking at it. Okay. Sometimes you just got to get your hands dirty, so let's look at this really quick. Okay, oh my god, this stupid thing with the search. I want to go back to Google search. Okay, do this in settings. Sorry guys, you in Google maybe. No, search. Default. No, disable. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see if it has any hits. Jesus, I don't know. AOL.com. So do we have hits here in 2025? Let's look at it. That's this. Okay. Do we get hits? 94 snapshots. It's 82 snapshots, 102 snapshots, 129. All the way up to today. 3 snapshots from today. Now, is this views? You could say. You could say it is views. Because if you're getting snapshots from people, if you're getting snapshots from the website, let's say AOL, okay, they're giving you a glimpse of what their views look like. Okay? Sure. Is this a accurate count on views? Of course not. But it's giving you 203, look at that, 200, 185. So yes, it does gauge views. You wouldn't say that it tells you how many views, like it's an extensive thing. No. But it does tell you about views a little bit.
From Jim Fetzer's book, right? You could just open up Jim Fetzer's book and
I've never read Jim Fetzer's book.
Mr. Jones, I'm going to caution you again. Please wait till I answer your question. Because as you can see, it's very frustrating for this man.
Ask
He's not here affiliated with any party. He's a private person who's paid to provide a service. He's coming here to try to write all this down so we have a good record. So let's try to behave in the deposition. Let me finish my questions. You didn't check any other Connecticut school district websites, did you? Because they all look like this, don't they?
I don't remember.
Well, let's say, hypothetically, if you had gone and you had seen that every other Connecticut school district website looks just like this. It'd be pretty irresponsible to go on the internet, go on your web show, call this the smoking gun, wouldn't it?
If it has no impressions over the years, it looks like it's a dormant site. That's his point. And I think it's pretty accurate. You would have at least a few snapshots or from the Wayback Machine. If there's 0, that's weird. That's like a dormant site.
I was predominantly talking about the other information, but I have to go back and get that.
Okay. Have you seen Ms. Binkowski's declaration filed in this case discussing all this? You looked at that?
I've read over a lot of papers. I can't keep track of it all.
Okay. Have you read anything about this, about the Wayback Machine?
I was speaking of a whole grouping of things, not just this.
That's not what I'm asking you. I'm asking you if you ever read any documents in this case about the Wayback Machine.
I don't remember.
Okay. What you said right after that is the school was shut down for those years. That's what the records show. Correct? Correct?
I'm sorry, is he done?
You can answer as long as I'm not talking, Mr. Jones.
Okay, what was the question?
And the question is, you said right after that, the Wayback Machine discussion, you said the word is that school was shut down for those years. That's what the records show. That was your argument, correct?
I'm specifically talking about the other articles I was talking about, yes.
That's what I'm asking you about right now. Those records, what are you talking about?
I'd have to go pull them up.
And you haven't done that.
No, not recently.
You've been under lawsuit now for over a year on Sandy Hook related cases, multiple cases, and you haven't done anything to go try to find what your sources for these claims are, have you?
I've done a lot of work.
He runs a network.
You were asked in interrogatories, weren't you, to identify your sources for all your Sandy Hook claims, including this one? You were asked that, right?
I don't remember.
Okay. You don't remember saying you couldn't figure out what your sources were? Is that what you're saying?
I don't understand.
Let's just ask you right now. Are you able to figure out what your sources are?
Yes, I could specifically, I mean, now that I understand what you're asking, I could go find that.
So if I wanted to know, when you say the records show that the school was closed down, you could produce those records.
I could show what I was talking about at that point.
Yeah, or you could produce whatever you were relying on as your source, right?
Now that you've specified,
You haven't done that, though, have you?
I don't have a law degree.
Okay. If you were asked the question, produce to me your source or records or information that you relied on to say the school was closed, that's something you could do.
Yes. I don't know if it would be what you're looking for.
I mean, look, if you had records or some sort of information, some sort of source showing the school in America's most horrifying school shooting was actually closed, you'd probably save that somewhere, right?
Well, I specifically mentioned, I remember what people were pointing out, what was going on.
I'm asking you if you would have saved that stuff.
I mean, I don't have the specifics here in front of me.
I'm not asking what you have in front of you. I'm asking you, when you had information that the school shooting that is the most famous in American history actually occurred in a school that was closed down and wasn't an operating school, did you save that information?
You know, I don't remember. It's a long time ago, almost 7 years ago.
Okay. You remember we saw in that video a piece of video footage of what you claimed at the time was kids going in circles, correct?
Yes.
Okay, that's not accurate, right?
Well, they are going in circles.
There's not kids, are they?
I believe they were kids.
Didn't we look at that in your last deposition and you agreed with me those are not school-age kids, nor is that the school?
I believe later there was also some stuff with the fire department.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you mean.
I know
I'm
what he's
asking
talking
Mr.
about.
Jones is, didn't you agree with me that that video does not feature school-age children, nor does it feature Sandy Hook Elementary School?
I don't remember that.
In fact, in March, didn't you tell me, well, that was the wrong video. We do a live show and people just put up videos sometimes.
I remember something about a fire department, yeah. I don't remember not being the kids. I'm confused.
B-roll.
Yeah, we saw a video of adults walking in and out of that building, which wasn't even the school. And didn't you tell me that you wrongly said that that was children and you came to understand that that was false?
I remember that conversation.
It was one of the reasons you changed your mind about a lot of things. Isn't that what you said?
Can you refresh and show me the video again?
I don't have the video with me right now. I'm just asking you a question.
I'm just trying to accurately answer this.
Sure. Well, we saw the video right there, right? We saw the video of them going in and out of circles, out of the school.
It was pretty far away. I think that's the same video.
Right, and you told your audience that was the school, and that was not true.
I don't remember the specifics, but I do remember I think that was something there was wrong.
And that's another thing that you got from Jim Fetzer and Wolfgang Halbig, correct?
I didn't really get anything I remember from Fetzer.
Okay. When you talked about emergency helicopters weren't called, again, you've testified you were relying on Halbig and Mr. Fetzer, right?
And I remember doing some research in the news, and that was pointed out. I had to pull that up, though.
Okay, the truth is, you had no idea where emergency helicopters would be coming from, and you had no idea if they could have gotten there faster or gotten a patient to the hospital faster than an ambulance, right?
I was relying on the fact that Halbig was a recognized expert on national television at that time, but at the beginning, and that he was credible.
Right, you did nothing to corroborate that. You just relied on Mr. Halbig.
I don't remember back at the time.
Can you give me 10-12?
I really commend Alex for having, like, I would just be literally like, my God, this is dumb. This makes no sense why I'm here, and it's pretty frustrating.
Mr. Jones, I've just handed you Exhibit 9, which is a screenshot from your video. And you remember this bit about Nancy Grace and Ashley Banfield doing the split-screen interview?
I do.
Okay. And actually, give me 10, 13. Mr. Jones, I'm going to hand you Exhibit 10, which is a little bit of a higher resolution picture of that from an Atlantic article, just to help you refresh your memory. Do you remember that bus going behind them?
I remember the story. They were at the same location.
Yeah, explain what you think's going on here.
Well, I'm not saying they're staging Sandy Hook. I'm saying that they were staging that they were at different locations.
Were they staging that they were in different locations?
That's what I believe the report was.
Do you see how at the top of the picture here you have little boxes that say where they are? Are they in different places? Or do they both say Phoenix?
Well, sure, but that could mean they're in different remote locations.
Sure, but they're only 40 yards away from each other, right?
I don't know.
You don't remember what they're covering here?
No.
So, first of all, we know it's not Sandy Hook, right? They're not covering Sandy Hook.
Looks like this says something different about captives and brothers held.
Yeah, they're just going over some news headlines in the moment, but you don't know where they are in Phoenix, why they're in Phoenix?
I don't remember. It's a long time ago.
Let's mark that.
Objection, relevance. Objection, relevance. Objection, relevance. Every time I would be saying that as Alex's attorney. This is dumb shit.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 11 a little bit later in the day. You see the title on the bottom?
About jury deliberations.
Yes. You remember the Jodi Arias murder trial? You remember that happening?
I remember Jodi Arias.
You ever seen coverage of different crimes and trials where they're all waiting out in the parking lot for a jury to deliberate, just talking on cable news?
Yes.
Okay. And that's what's going on here, right? You have a bunch of cable news vultures sitting out in the parking lot waiting for a jury verdict to report on a crime, right?
I don't know.
Well, have you ever seen that sort of stuff, like what Nancy Grace does?
Yes.
Okay.
Who hasn't?
Is it,
Jesus
is
Christ.
it
OJ.
surprising to you that 3 of those people have the same building behind them? That courthouse? Is that surprising to you, or
I can't tell what that is.
if all those people are sitting in the same parking lot waiting for that jury verdict, is that to you evidence that there's some sort of conspiracy behind Sandy Hook?
What?
No.
What?
You've seen tabloid-style coverage of crimes on these cable news networks, right? You're familiar with what Nancy Grace does?
Yes.
We can both agree Nancy Grace has reported false things on CNN about tragic murders, hasn't she?
I don't know that.
You've had some criticisms with Nancy Grace about her false reporting, haven't you?
I don't really remember.
Okay. Did you know she's been sued multiple times for her false reporting?
I didn't know
I
that.
don't know that.
Do you think people are justified in suing someone like Nancy Grace when she does false reportings on crimes involving their loved ones?
I don't know the specifics. I haven't really followed Nancy Grace.
I'm just asking you if you think people would be justified suing her if she said false things about crimes involving their loved ones.
I'm not judging her. I don't know. I really haven't followed her.
Okay. You wouldn't agree with me then that you and Nancy Grace are basically 2 peas in a pod?
What?
You do basically the same thing?
Jesus.
I don't follow Nancy Grace enough to know what your definition of her or I are.
Well, I'll just tell you, Nancy Grace does really, really reckless tragedy porn. And you do the same thing with the conspiracy twist, don't you?
No, I question a system known for continually lying that says that babies were thrown out of incubators that never existed in the DU, and there's WMDs in Iraq when there's not, and then all these, and then the Benghazi stand-downs. We've been lied to so much. Just like most Americans, I question official stories that it's not illegal.
What question did you ask in that video that we just watched?
Tell him,
What
Alex.
question you asked?
You tell him.
I was talking about some of the questions people have.
What was the question? What question? I heard a lot of statements. Can you tell me what the question was?
I was putting out some of the reasons people question things.
You were putting out assertions that were false, that you were using to justify your skepticism of Sandy Hook, correct?
Oh
I
my
mean, I've
God.
been skeptical of all events like Jussie Smollett, the Covington kids, and so many times it turns out what we're being told isn't true. And I've been wrong about things I've questioned before, and I've admitted that, but I've not consciously tried to go out and do that. In fact, you get attacked for questioning things, and but it's something that I think is important to do because we've been lied to so much, and it's really the system's fault for lying so much that people lost confidence in.
Literally every single assertion you made in that video is false, correct? Not one thing you said in it is true.
I'm not.
I'm not understanding your answer. Are you claiming there are things you said in that video that are true?
I'd have to watch the video again. There's also a full video. That's only an excerpt.
Well, first of all, I asked you to watch it closely because you knew I was going to ask you questions about it. And I want you to know, of all those assertions you made, which ones are true?
Well, I mean, that looks like green screen to me when his face turns and the nose disappears.
You work in internet video, right?
Internet video.
Yeah, that's part of your job.
I don't know what internet video means, but
You publish videos to the internet, correct?
yes.
Okay. You run an internet-based media company, correct?
No.
Okay. You've seen a lot of internet videos.
Yes.
You knew that wasn't blue screen. Are you really going to tell me you thought that was blue screen?
That's exactly what it was like.
It does. It looks like Anderson Cooper's nose disappears. And it looks like green screen. Don't believe your lying eyes. You gotta believe the fucking narrative. Get it?
Okay. What efforts did you make to find out?
I mean, I've seen that's the most classic thing is when, along the line, if the colors are close to each other, it'll disappear.
Yep.
I know you guys said it was video artifacts and stuff. Those are usually boxes and where stuff blurs out over large areas. It doesn't just do it on the nose or on the line or on the shoulders.
Okay.
With blue screen or chroma key, it's along the outlines.
It's true.
The answer to the question is nothing.
Absolutely accurate. We work with green screen all the time. Accurate. Let's see what the moron says.
Nothing. You made no actual efforts to find out if that was blue screen. You just looked at it and said, looks like blue screen.
Yeah?
That's exactly what you should. I mean, and I'm not saying that means Anderson Cooper's involved in Sandy Hook or something. It's just saying that the CNN's famous for faking locations.
Again, you made no efforts to find out. That's all I'm asking.
I remember back at the time, I mean, the internet was, a lot of folks, people that are familiar with blue screen thought it looked like that. Green screen, blue screen.
I did not ask you what other people on the internet were thinking at the time. I asked you, what did you do? What efforts did you make to determine if it was blue screen? And the answer is none.
We did. We went to the original CNN site. I remember we found the clip from them, and it was like that.
Okay.
It wasn't the version of the video we had.
Let's talk about that Bloomberg
There you
email
go.
that comes up. This idea that there was an email sent the day before Sandy Hook saying, get ready, next 24 hours, there's going to be a big event. That email, you've been asked for that email, and you say you don't have it, right?
We were covering reports of the email that was sent out to the activist groups that had been in the news.
Where were you covering it? What do you mean, were you covering it?
We were covering the reports of them activating their anti-gun rights organization.
Okay, well, see, here's the thing, Mr. Jones. At first, I thought there must be some email coincidentally sent on the day before Sandy Hook that Bloomberg or his people sent that you must be willfully misinterpreting or something like that. The problem is, nobody who's looked at this has been able to find any evidence that such an email has ever existed. And I want to know if you can explain that.
Well, I'm just not taking your assertion if that's the case.
Well, that's why I've asked you questions in discovery. And you haven't been able to produce that email to me, have you?
Well, you guys are asking if we have an email in the emails.
Mm-hmm.
I was reporting on other news reports about an alert they put out to the group.
All right, could you find those reports if you needed to? Could you identify your source?
Well, I mean, you can hold back a source if you want to, but I remember being online. I can try to go find that again.
What do you mean you can hold back a source if you want to? What does that mean?
I mean, if I have a confidential source on something, I don't want to hold back the confidential source for their protection, but that's not what's happened in this case. I remember the news articles about it that we reported on.
So you can find those, right?
I should be able to.
Okay. This bit about Robbie Parker, the whole fake crying bit, that bit. I'm curious, do you feel any shame about that, or are you totally fine with seeing video of yourself do that?
I don't think I did it quite the way you did, but
do you feel any shame about it, or are you fine seeing video of yourself do that?
I did not kill those children. I know the media and everybody wants to make it that way, and I have a right to question things. And the internet saw him laughing and joking and then turning and hyperventilating and starting crying, and that's why people who've been lied to so much by the media began to ask questions, is that real? Because it's also so traumatic that the public doesn't want to believe that terrible things like this could happen. I don't wish any harm against Mr. Parker. I believe he lost his son, but I did not kill his son.
Let's back away from what you think you have a right or not right to do on television. Let's just back away from that for a moment. I'm just talking as a human being. Seeing you do that on video, does that make you feel ashamed?
I mean, that's what he did on video. So that's what happened.
So the answer's no.
I've been asked a lot about that. The internet, by the time I saw that video of Mr. Parker, who had millions of views, I didn't kill his son, and I didn't laugh like he did. And I understand people are going through grief, they do inappropriate things, and later I understood that, and I've said that.
Okay. In April of the following year, so just a couple months later after this video, do you remember there being media coverage about how Trump hadn't responded to that letter asking him to disavow you?
I do remember the letter now by parents. I didn't remember the specific name of the lady.
Okay. And you remember a few months later, some of those outlets like Daily Beast and Guardian and all of those were waving their hands in the air saying, Trump hasn't responded to the letter and won't disavow Alex Jones. Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Okay. And do you remember just a couple days after that, you did a video that you published called Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in April of 2017, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that's another video where you kept repeating the things Halbig was saying, right?
That's a video where I called the media and the lawyers that live off Sandy Hook vampires.
Did you repeat the things Halbig was saying?
I don't remember the specifics of the whole video.
Okay, let's watch it. I'd like to offer now Exhibit 6C. This is entitled Sandy Hook Vampires Exposed. It was published on April 22nd, 2017.
All right, folks, that's where I am going to say adios for now. This is part 3. You'll get part 4 tomorrow night, probably. I'm going to keep going on this. It's worth it the time because it just shows such bullshit. The amazing amount of bullshit. But I'm glad to do it because I believe Alex deserves some sort of vindication. And it looks like he's turning from this bullshit of a fascist asshole Trump. And if I'm doing anything to help that, cheers, I hope so. Pizza me or nothing. I'll see you tomorrow, guys.